Good morning, beloveds. All right, it's Friday, which means it's my rest day, which means I just noticed that it was raining. It's raining outside. All right. But that's okay because it was my rest day. I just hope that my partner's inventory is going well. He had to go to work very early this morning because of this inventory. Okay. It is February 16th. Our title is Spiritual Principle. Our author is Elizabeth Sand Turner, and this is from What Unity Teaches, 1954. I think I have that book. That's interesting. All right. Spiritual Principle. Spiritual principle is embodied in the sacred books of the world's living religions. Christians hold the Bible as the supreme exponent of spiritual principle. They believe that the Bible is the greatest and most deeply spiritual of all of the scriptures, although they realize that other scriptures, such as the Zend-Avesta and the Upanishads, as well as the teachings of Buddha, the Quran, and the Tao of Lao Tse, and the writings on Confucius, contained expressions of eminent spiritual truths. The study of comparative religion shows a marked similarity among the ideas expanded by the founders of religion, revealing that there is one ultimate truth, some phase of which each has perceived. The differences in religion seem to be due primarily to the different interpretations put upon spiritual truths by the leader of each, and to forms of worship which unfortunately often lead to often tend to obscure the beauty and simplicity of the original principles. All right. Oh, you want to get me on a soapbox? Let's talk about that. But I'm going to try and not get up on my soapbox. The point being is we call it the golden thread. And it's one of the things that Ernest Holmes noticed. Ernest Holmes kind of looked at the religions, all of them, or as many of them as he could get his hands on, and said, you know what? They're all kind of saying the same thing. They're all saying the same thing. There is this golden thread of truth running through all of the religions. The other thing that Ernest said was everybody has a piece of the truth, nobody has the whole picture. Okay? And it's very egocentric if a religion thinks that they have all of the truth. Then what we would say is that if a religion claims to have all of the truth, then they are running on ego, not spiritual principle. Maybe we wouldn't say that. I would say that. But a lot of religious scholars who study other religions. When I went to ministerial school, that is one of the things that they did was they taught us a variety of religions. They exposed us to a variety of religions for a variety of reasons. One being, hey, take a look. A lot of these religions are saying very similar things. So let's start there. And two, if you want to talk to people of other religions, you got to know their language. You got to know what it is that they think is important. What are the words that they use? Because if you go up to Alaska, the Inuit tribes up there have at least 54 words for snow. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. That's pretty much all religion is. We have 54 words for God. And that is not even close to the truth. There's one thing where there was 99 names for God, and there's another one where it's 108 names of God, and so God is just a word that describes, poorly I might add, an entity, the life spark. Life is another word for God. Beauty is another word for God. Love is another word for God. Harmony, joy, peace, creativity. And then we can get off into what The word just popped right out of my head. I was going to use the Muslim, the Muslim word, the Islam word, which right there, it was on the tip of my tongue and it's gone, which simply means father. You know, it's not a different God. Jehovah, just another word for the same idea is what I'm going to say. I can't even say entity. I'm going to say idea. And none of the words are big enough to encapsulate the whole thing. And so I think that it is a wonderful, inclusive thing when we go and study other people's religions, because there's beauty in them. And that's one of the things she said, is like our different interpretations tend to obscure the beauty of the spiritual principle. I went to a Greek Orthodox church. Now, outside of the fact that the service is pretty much an hour and a half, and you stand for most of it, yeah, don't wear heels to that service. It was a beautiful service. Their concept of worship was beautiful. I went to one of the mega churches, and honestly, their concept of worship was beautiful. He did lose me at a certain point, and then one of my teachers pointed out to me, when he uses that word, you can use this word, and I went, you're right. And which then helped. It's like there are religions around the world that are fantastic and amazing and beautiful, and they are teaching the golden thread. Any path that leads to the light is a good path. Any path that leads to the light, so don't get caught up in one religion is better than the other. If you are being fed in that religion, then good for you. Stick it out. Stick it out. Ernest didn't intend to start his own religion. Ernest just kind of went, hey, I've noticed this really neat way that Jesus had of praying. Let me teach you this technique. And then you take it back to the religion that you came from, and hopefully it'll make your spiritual practice more full. It'll feed you a little bit better. But people came to Ernest and didn't leave. And Ernest said, well, I guess we better organize. He didn't. People around him said, you need to organize. So he did. Because one of the other things that Ernest noticed is that people are dying for someone to tell them that they're okay. And that's one of the real benefits of the New Thought, is because we believe that at the core of you are good. The core of you, the source of your being is good. The source of your being is good because it's a divine source. So the core of you is good. Everything else, we can talk about nature, we can talk about nurture, we can talk about environment, which is part of nurture, we can talk about nutrition, we can talk about, because I'll be honest with you, when I'm hangry, when I'm hungry, I'm hangry. I'm not the nicest person when I'm hungry. We had dinner with the fam last night, and I guess traffic caught one of our members, and so she was late, and I was like, I hit that point, and I was like, okay, I can't wait any longer because I'm on a special eating program at the moment. And I was like, I can't wait, because if I wait for her to get here by the time the food gets here, I'm gonna be I'm not gonna be my best. And that's, that has everything to do with hormones and body chemistry and all of that. So it's like, you know what, I'm gonna take care of that. So we do believe at the core principle, people are good. Now, we also are very aware of people's behavior, and we do not put ourselves within reach of people who behave badly. We are going to love them and know that they are good. We are going to hold that knowing of good until they can hold it for themselves from a safe distance. You know, we're not throwing ourselves into the fire. It's like, we're not fools. We just believe that everybody is good at the core. So, so she listed a bunch of sacred writings. And that's the other thing, is like, when I talk about it, it's like, how you are feeling when you read sacred literature is going to change your interpretation, you know? And you also have to understand that a whole lot of the sacred literature has been translated, and two, copied for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Can you imagine the translation mistakes that we've made? Can you imagine the copying mistakes that we've made? But if we could get our hands on the original documents when they were very first written down, they'd read a little different. And she made another point where she talked about living religions. Okay? And that's one of the strengths that I've seen in the Jewish communities.
Surprise.
And the Jewish communities and the Islam is, I think it's in the Jewish tradition, it's called the Talmud. Basically, you get a council of elders together on a regular basis, and they talk about the sacred literature and how they can apply it to modern life. Okay? They are living, breathing documents. They are living, breathing religion. And that's one of the things that is super important to remember. Okay? That life changes. We continually evolve, and our religions should evolve with us. That's one of the more worrying things that's going on in Christianity right now, is people are trying to stick it. And I'm like, some of the stuff that applied 2,000 years ago doesn't apply anymore, and we need to move on, okay? Or maybe they're trying to stick it in the 1800s or in the 1950s. They're going to kill it. It will no longer be a living religion. It will fast become a dead religion. So that's one of those. The sacred literature should be living, breathing documents. One of the things that I loved about the Hindu tradition, Hindu tradition, is they have so many gods, right? Well, no, they don't. No, they don't. If you go and look at the Hindu tradition, they have one God. You know, Brahma. They have one God. But they understand that, one, we can't conceptualize all of God. Therefore, when we need to deal with a specific aspect of God, it's easier for us to name that aspect. Okay? So there's that. Which then we could give people a pass on what they call God. It's like, okay, the particular aspect of God that I need to work with right now, because I can't embody all of God. I can embody a sliver of God, which is my goal every day, is to embody that sliver of God. But I can't embody all. So I'm going to name the aspect that right now is the one I need to work on. Okay? That's what the Hindus tradition did. And that's what makes it so amazing. They also kind of looked at it from the standpoint of, you know what, we've got this demon in the next valley who's tearing up everything. How about we just give him a place in our pantheon? We'll worship him. We'll give him offerings, you know, and then he can stop tearing up the valley. And it worked. I mean, if it worked, who were we to criticize? Okay? So that's the beauty of looking at other religions. And that is what Ernest Holmes did. Ernest Holmes looked at all these other religions and went, you know what? They all have the golden thread of truth running through them. Everything else is window dressing. As long as you are holding on to the golden thread, your window dressing shouldn't matter. Any path that leads to the light is good. That is spiritual principle. Okay? And Jesse says, because when you look at New Thought, there's a whole bunch of laws. We can talk about the law of attraction and the law of creation and thought, but he says it really all comes back to the one law. It all comes back to the one law. It's because it's bigger than we are. So I would say the best thing we can do is not let our egos get in the way. And I liked that on Sunday he was talking about, boom, you become teachable. When you realize what you don't know, boom, you become teachable. And with religion and spirituality, you want to stay teachable. Because if you're not teachable, Spirit can't get through to you either. Because Spirit uses all of these amazing ways, including other religions, but more importantly, your fellow godlings. All of the wonderful people walking around you are there to demonstrate spiritual principle to you. And when you're not teachable, when you're not open to that, you can miss out on some wonderful things. And mayhaps the person who is going to bring you your next great spiritual lesson be from another religion. And then you miss the lesson. So, mission today, I'm not sure. Outside of, I would say that if the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to be open-minded, open-hearted to other religions. Read other sacred texts. If you've got this idea that there's one sacred text in the world and the rest of it is tomfoolery, well, you're just cutting off your nose to spite your face. So that would be the mission today, should you choose to accept it. Choose a sacred literature from another religion and read it. Read it. And then ask questions. I've read the Upanishads. I've read the Bhagavad Gita. I've read a good bit of the Quran. I happen to have a really good teacher when I took Islam. I've read, I've read the Gnostic Bible. So try it. You'll read some fascinating things. And it will add value to your life. So that's the mission today, should we choose to accept it. The other mission I would suggest to you is the same, or the other mission that I suggest to you is the same mission I give you every day. Do something loving for yourself. Do something kind for yourself. Do something compassionate for yourself. Be it one thing, be it three things, it doesn't matter. If you live a life of service, self-care is important. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So, practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself. It is a spiritual practice of self-care. But in the end, the goal is to make sure that everything you do for yourself and others is loving, kind, and compassionate. We are going to do hard things in this world for ourselves and others. Okay, it happens. If we do them lovingly, kindly, and compassionately, it goes a lot easier. So, my suggestions, the biggest one is always take a deep breath before you speak. It's easier to not say it than to make amends for something you didn't mean to say. And I also like to remind you that deep breath allows you to respond instead of react. When we react, it's who we've been taught to be. When we respond, it's who we actually are. So never beat yourself up for your first thought. So, okay. The other suggestions, take a walk, take a nap, take a break. I mean them literally and metaphorically. Okay? I'm also just glanced at the time, which means I need to wrap this up. I would also want to remind you to eat dessert first, which I mean literally and metaphorically. It means don't save the good stuff. Don't wait for a special occasion. Make the occasion special. I'm going to remind you also that joy is a quality of God. When I was talking about the names of God, joy is one of the names that I used. No matter what is going on in the world, no matter what is going on in your life, you still deserve joy. Okay? It is quality of God. It is one of the names for God. Please make room for joy. All right. The rest of the suggestions are basic self-care. Do something to engage your mind and body, whatever that looks like for you. Drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. It's that mineral water I'm always talking about. I make it with trace minerals, lemon juice, and stevia. your brain works better, your body works better, your skin looks better when you're well hydrated. What was the third one? Oh, get that early in your morning bright light, which I'm having to use artificial light because it's raining. So, 5 to 10 minutes of bright light as soon as you wake up will help to reset your circadian rhythms. You'll feel better. All right? Trust me, it's science. And if you need more support than you're getting from the light in your house, Google sun lamp or seasonal affective disorder lights. They're not expensive. Don't spend a whole lot of money on them. Okay? But they do work. And then I had that Ernest Holmes quote that I like. Open to the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around you all the time. It's two things. One, it's all God. And two, heaven isn't a place. It is not as Ernest says, it's not a locality. It's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. Okay? Once you learn to create it for yourself, nobody can take it away from you. And most importantly, any place can become heaven. Right there. Boom. Right there. That's the secret. And the quickest way to start that is to take Emma Curtis Hopkins' advice, look for the good and praise it. Right there. Look for the good and praise it. My suggestion has been this month to write down either first thing in the morning, in the middle of the day, right before you go to bed, wherever you need it. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for. Don't repeat for at least a week. If you can do it for a month. And then post that list somewhere. So when you need that most, you can look at all of the good in your life. Okay? And no good is too small to write on that list. All right. I'm going to leap forward. Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. You want to know what's going on with the center? Please email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on the constant contact. 1 email a week. Real person doing it. He ain't got time for that. Okay. Yeah. I'm in the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a Friday. A kind day, a compassionate day, a go dance in the rain day, a silly day, a wrap it up day, or get it started day, or do what you need to do day, a good day. And if that's too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You're a beloved child of God. Or as one of the phrase that I love is, you are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark, a spirit in motion, God in action, or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. All right, beloveds? Explore the truth of your being, okay? Get to know the source of your being and explore the truth of your being. Peel all of the layers back, all of them, okay? Get to know who the divine knows you to be. Because I can promise you one thing. The person the divine knows you to be is good. And from there, anything's possible. All right, beloveds. Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.